Run, Wayne, run.
He ain't running nowhere.
And I had the wrong date down.
That's almost like telling me to run.
Yeah, I don't want to run either. Yeah, I have one. Yeah, my husband. I'm very sad.
But it's also, I actually know two people.
All right, ready? All right, we will officially start the City of Traverse Rest Council Committee meeting for Monday, November 10th. Thank you guys for coming out on a dreary, cold night to hang out with us. We appreciate it. All right, we will start with our Personnel Committee, Dr. Shanice Chris.
All right, thank you. So I would like to do the roll call. So on here, we have Kelly Byers, Grant Baumgartner, and Wayne McCall. Now, do we have to do the motion before we go? Okay. So we're going to talk about military pay employee handbook edition. So we actually do the motion to approve first? Okay. Motion to approve the addendum to the handbook regarding military pay.
Motion.
There a second? Okay, thank you. This will put us in compliance with South Carolina law. It allows up to 15 days military pay and up to 30 days of deployed difference pay. The 30 days of difference pay will cover the difference between what the employee would be making at the city versus what they'll be being paid at the military. So do we need to do executive session? Oh, no, that's it. Okay, for some reason I thought we had executive session. All right, so let's vote on this.
Hold on, I have a question
We're
about
going to
it.
have some discussion.
Okay.
Now, it's sort of, not ambiguous, but it's sort of, and I know this probably comes straight out of probably state guidelines.
Yes, sir.
In my years in the military, and I had reserve time, you didn't collect both paychecks.
Councilmember McCall, that's a great point. And so what the state law does is it approves the 15 days outright. You get 15 days. If there's a state of emergency and the military is called for a state of emergency,
That's different.
the
yeah.
state we pay 30 days on that. If they are deployed to a combat zone and they make less in theater, which is unlikely, but if they were to make less in their military role than they would in the city, we would pay the differential for that so that they would make that full paycheck for 30 days.
But the question really, I mean, I get what you're saying, but in most cases, like reserve and guard duty are like weekend type duty. However, some days you may have to, if you're going to summer camp, you may have to go early, a couple of days early, that's not covered by that. Okay, so what pay are they gonna get? Are they gonna get their military pay? Or are they gonna get their city pay?
Well, the way the state law reads is they can have up to 15 days that they would receive city pay. So we don't have any purview over whether they're receiving military pay or not, but they can register with us up to 15 days for their regular duties, for reserve duties.
And that's for the difference or for the full pay?
Great question, but no, it's not for the difference.
Okay.
So if they are reserve forces, they get up to 15 days each annual year. So if they're on shift and they are called, it's their weekend or they're called for their 2 weeks or whatever, they can claim up to 15 days with us for a city paycheck. That's by state law. We don't really have any purview over that. The only thing that we have purview over is a 30 days in combat zone. And then we pay the differential on that. That's with
Okay.
city administrator's approval.
So
And so
15 days
that
total.
approval could be withheld if you had a budgetary crisis. It would be my intention, so long as the money's there to pay them, to pay the military to support that, if they're in combat theater.
How many people do we have?
Currently, we have 3. One just returned from deployment. I'm going to look back here. The likelihood of having all 3 deployed at the same time is in combat theater would be slim. If we had an emergency, that's possible.
That could fluctuate depending on where we are staff-wise and who we have
Absolutely.
hired and how that runs.
Over time, yes.
Now, when you said that, a key word there was deployment. When you're in deployment, he's active duty. He will not, as active duty, he has to collect his military pay and not his city pay.
That's a great question, Councilmember McCall. My understanding and reading of the law and what we ran through with the HR representative was that it's just military leave. It doesn't preclude active duty or reserve duty. It's just military leave. So if they're scheduled for military days, we pay them that 15 days. If they go for emergency services, that's usually the governor's call. We pay up to an additional 30 days. And then if they go to combat zone, it comes to the city administrator for approval for the pay differential.
And the reason that we're considering this is simply because we have found we are out of state compliance, correct?
Yes, sir. These provisions change pretty regularly, so if you'll look to your memo, the first part of the memo, we write it to say which provides specific rights and protections for employees who serve the National Guard or Reserve components of the United States Air Forces. And so we leave it really open so that as this comes up over time, the city administrator can review what that is, and you don't have to continually change your military policy in order to be in compliance. So it just refers to the state law, and then I provide this explanation of the state law behind that, current explanation.
Any other comments? And we're required to be in compliance with the state law, correct? I would assume. So I was like, it is.
It certainly helps to be in compliance.
We could be challenged, and we could go to court and perhaps challenge state law, but typically state law supersedes us, so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are you ready to vote? Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'll just add on this. You know, we find that our military folk are a very valuable asset to the city. I am personally in favor of this anyway.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, but, you know, just, sometimes state law can have just a tiny little loophole in there. And you know, I spent 34 years federal government. And so, like I say, I mean, I know how then, but, you know, things change. And I just want to make sure that we were, you know, covering all of our bases.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All those in favor? All those opposed? Thank you. This passes.
Need a motion to adjourn your.
Motion
Okay.
to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. You can tell I don't do this a lot.
We only have personnel committee like twice a year, Shanice. Yeah.
I was.
All right, Public Works Committee, Chair Lane.
I open the Public Works Committee. Present are myself, Catherine James, and Sherry Mara. Do I have a motion to approve the October 6th Public Works minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Director Tate.
Good evening, everyone. Just a couple of things I want to highlight. We do have the glass recycling event scheduled for this Saturday from 9 to 12 in the parking lot here at the admin building. There will also be a shred event taking place at the same time over in the parking lot to my left, your right there. Christmas decorations are slowly going up. You'll see that coming around this week, and the harvest decor will be coming down. I do want to mention back early October, David Garland did obtain his playground inspector certification. So we do have a certified playground inspector on staff here. David attended the class in Columbia and obtained his certification. So is there any questions that you guys have?
Is that like a state level certification or?
That is a national, I think, state accreditation or certification. Sorry about that.
Does that include mulch too?
It does, yes, sir.
Do you have to have a special kind of mulch?
Yes,
You do have,
yes.
you do
The
have,
playground, you have to have playground mulch, and it has to be a certain depth off of each one of the rides.
but it doesn't have to be the rubber mulch. I mean, it can still be.
It does not have to be rubber. It can be the wood type. I'm sorry, I thought you was asking.
No, she was doing this and
I know
he was
about
doing
playground
that.
mulch.
So I was just kind of mixed signals back there.
Yeah.
It's not cheap.
No, it's very expensive.
It's
It
pretty
is.
thick over here at the playground.
It is there. And we added some last year over at Athens. We've been trying to get what we have back in compliance. So we did add some, when we done the upgrade over at Athens, we did add that new style of mulch over there.
Y'all have done a great job advertising, and also with the toy drive. I just want to remind everybody that can be a drive-through funds if you don't necessarily have toys in the car ready to go. You might forget, but I appreciate all the pushing of the info out. It's a big Saturday, a lot going on.
Yeah, a lot of moving pieces. The Shriners has an event in the park on Saturday over there. They have a 5K, I think, scheduled for that. I will touch on the Poinsett Highway project. They were able to close the lanes down. The intersection was closed and opened back up very quickly, a lot sooner than we had possibly anticipated. They did take it down, and they've got the final surface coat coming in. They're waiting on the signal contractor to move in and install the signal there at the intersection. Then in a couple of weeks, we'll see some landscape go in out there. Along with then after the final coat of asphalt, the signage will go up, and then the striping will go back on. So it's getting close, early 2026, hopefully.
And like I emailed y'all, so you're gonna kind of put out like a little, like what we've done, what's yet to come, kind of to kind of keep everybody updated.
Councilmember Lane, Philip put together a good little list of what's still to come, and then we've provided that to Beth, and she's going to put that out on all of our media platforms and update our website as well. The vast majority of the work that's going to slow down traffic on Poinsett Highway is completed. Now it's kind of the refinishing, the top coating. And that will have lanes open with flaggers moving. It's same thing when the light is installed. So it really won't be, it may be a little bit of a slowdown in traffic, but it won't be the lane closure that we've been experiencing. We do have work still to take place on Thomas Drive. That's the significant stormwater drainage work, but that's kind of off the main thoroughfare and won't be as impactful in a negative way to the community. And then, of course, we look forward to the crosswalks coming up. That's at the very end of the project. There's some installation of the greenery and lighting and things of that nature to come. So there's still a lot of work going on. It's just hopefully less disruptive now to the community.
And then, does anybody on committee have any questions?
I just wanted to clarify, you said crosswalks. So are the adjustments going to be near Pine Stone for the crosswalk? Are we still going to have that entity space that doesn't necessarily push the button? Everyone, like, are we going to have two right there?
There will only be one there. Once they get the new one moved down, my
Okay.
understanding, they're going to remove the one that's there
Okay,
now. And then they'll do the diagonal at Michael Haney.
okay. And that one will have crossbars, you said?
But it's an all-stop. It's a new way of functioning, and as we get closer to that, we'll be putting out lots of media
Oh, the
on how an
diagonal. Yeah,
all-stop,
yeah.
the diagonal crossing works. There's also a crosswalk coming on Poinsett at Chicora Alley, too.
And trash cans in town get very overflowing with all the events and all that we have. And I know that takes manpower, and y'all are very busy.
We will look into that. I will look into that. We'll kind of adjust the schedules, maybe the collection times to see what we can do. I know that on Saturday and Sunday, there's some downtown events that impact that. So we can definitely take a closer look at that and see if there's something that we can adjust.
Thank you. Anybody on council have any questions?
I did have a question about, and this may come up in the next committee, about the parking lot next to TR Oriental. I've noticed a couple of cars that gotten stuck in the ditch. Have you been hearing from citizens about that?
I haven't heard anything directly. We are working with a couple of contractors to get some things moving out there to kind of get that parking lot
help.
shaped back up where they won't be able to do that.
I'll jump in just a little bit, Councilmember James. We are in the process of getting estimates back on putting down additional rock, and also stoppers to delineate, here's where you will park. We do not plan to use the grassy area except for when we are hosting events in town and we open it with our police force. We've done some good measurements on traffic volume in there, and consistently we have a need for about 40 spaces during the busy times. We very rarely have a need to go over 40 spaces. The parking plan that Jay's put together for us has 50 spaces, so that should be adequate for most times. And then hopefully that helps with the grassy getting stuck and then also coming across the ditch. There's opportunities to continue to improve that going forward, but this is what we can do with the current budget that we have in hand, which is pretty small. We will also block that first entrance closest to the
That was gonna
light.
be my
So
question.
all entrance and exit will come through the one spot, and that will be really clear once we put down the landscape timbers that kind of become the directional guidance. We'll also put some plantings in, so it kind of uplifts it a little bit.
Will there be any light? I'm sorry.
That's good, no, go ahead.
Will there be any light?
Great question. That's not currently budgeted.
Now, if I understand correctly, what you're saying is there'll be no entrance off of Road,
Correct.
Yes,
and
sir.
everything will come in off of
Off of Old
Buncombe?
Buncombe.
That's a great idea. One way in, one way out.
Yes, sir.
And this is going to be separated so that people cannot just drive over into the grassy area also,
Correct. We'll have some
We've
landscape
seen two
timbers
heads
blocking it.
not,
They can
so,
be
yes.
moved when we purposely open it up for events, and that'll be based on conditions and needs.
Counting that parking lot and counting the one behind the house up there and on-street parking, how many parking spaces do we have in that area approximately?
I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but I do know we have approximately 50 at Spring Park Inn and approximately 50 on Row Road, so that's 100 more than we did
Plus,
when.
plus on-street,
On-street.
so
Plus on
150 spaces. We ain't got a parking problem.
Yeah, we got a walking.
got walking
We got a walking problem. Yeah, we have an education problem.
Philip, going back to Poinsett, I know that you've been really good about going door to door and talking with business owners and keeping them updated. What's the feedback from them about the process?
I think they have been very receptive of someone coming in. I've heard I've heard some good feedback, and I've also, heard some negative feedback as well. But I think overall, everybody is ready for it to be over and, ready to move on to the next phase of it. But, I mean, I really haven't had any, just adamant negative comments back on it.
I have one more question about the Poinsett area out there. What about paving? What about the temperatures? It seemed like I remember from years gone by that there had to be, and Jay, help jump in here on this. A certain temperature to pave
That's 40, above 40 degrees.
above 40. It used to be much higher than that.
It's
So
above 40.
that's probably difference in asphalt. But above 40, and it has to be 40 for how long?
That's still-
48 hours?
And
So
that's what they're,
if they pave now, that shouldn't be a problem. Well, not, I have to wait till tomorrow.
On Thursday. Thursday's good for us.
Thursday.
Start
Yeah,
Thursday.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of their plan, too,
Good, I got
working
you.
through the cold snap here.
Any other questions? Well, we thank you for all that you and your team are doing, and thank you, David, for getting the playground inspection certification. And I wanted to say for all the Marines out there, happy Marine Corps Day. So,
Thank you.
and do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Thank you, Lisa. Public Safety Committee Chair Byers.
Call to order the Public Safety Committee meeting for November 10th. Present are myself, Shanice Chris, Wayne McCall, and Sherry Mara. Do we have a motion to approve the October 6th Public Safety?
Motion to
minutes?
approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All right, Chief Ford.
Good evening, how's everyone?
The October numbers looked really good on the report.
Yes, would like to point out a couple things on that. The additions that we have added, the training hours, 510 training hours for the month. And again, that includes training our newer officers in their field training and advanced training. And would like to point out where it says community training events. So 4 trainings or meetings, approximately 1,217 people reached. So that kind of leads me into the next part that Officer Blake was going to talk about, but he had another engagement he had to go handle tonight. So I'm going to briefly give you an overview of what he's doing now. So Officer Blake is a certified trainer and by Alert. civilian response to active shooter events, okay? That new training that he's received teaches some new ways of handling active shooter events in the community. And what Officer Blake does is he goes out and meets with local churches, local businesses that want him to come in and tell them what to do if they have some type of event happen there. And the 3 words to remember, key words at this point, are avoid, deny, and defend. And that's what that we teach these individuals, these businesses, these churches, and we try to prepare them the best they can in case something were to happen there before law enforcement got there. He's also attending homeowners association meetings, all types of community meetings with businesses and in the area. We're trying to be involved more than we've ever been in the community. And then he's also receiving calls daily from businesses asking for him to come teach them, to come, it's usually not problems, it's usually just, hey, come talk to us, we want to be involved. So it's a good thing going on right now. So I know Officer Blake can do it a lot better than me, but that's the gist of it. Are there any questions regarding that right now?
Chief, I apologize. I'm just going to jump in. We double scheduled Officer Blake, so that's my fault. But I'm really excited when I was talking with him to learn that he's done a training for TNS Brass. He's done a training for the embroidery specialties. So it doesn't matter what size business you are. He's come in and been working with our teams here in town to make them feel safer and to be more actively engaged in their environment. So really proud of him and thankful for Chief identifying the opportunity here in the community and allowing Officer Blake to go to this training and pass it along.
I believe Trinity Presbyterian Church was the other one that he's done so far. Now, we also have a reserve officer that's kind of piggybacking off of that. Officer Kurt Russell was a state constable. He transferred over to be a reserve officer with us. He does a little bit of computer work and helps me out in that aspect around the office, but he also helps out Officer Blake with community events. He has a meeting this week at the Woodlands to talk about scams and fraud and
That's
that type
good.
of thing, to kind of educate them that, hey, this is what you listen for, this is what you look for. If you hear this, be aware it may be something going on. So he's doing that. That's another outreach that we're doing right now to a lot of people in the community to try to avoid having more victims of these scams.
I love that. Do y'all ever have anything at the library? Because my mom talks about these scams and for older people who might come to the library and do it. So you have Woodlands, but maybe to have a session at the library would be
I know
helpful.
we haven't, but that's a great idea, and I'll take that to Officer Blake and Officer Russell, and I'm sure they would, and we can plan it and kind of promote it a little bit. Yeah,
And I'll
that's a great
definitely
idea.
share it, and because a lot of people have been talking about the scams, and it's just so upsetting. So thank you for doing that.
Taking advantage of people, and
Yep.
you know, I've had an aunt of mine call me and say, hey, this is what happened, and I talked to her and explained to her, but as many people we can reach on a daily basis and educate them, that's what we want to try to do. We have the resources now to do that with the full-time community officer and then one of our reserve officers also wanting to work on our community events. So we've got some good things going on right now.
Poinsett Commons might be another community to target with scam prevention.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for that.
Poinsett Commons, it's the age-restricted apartments on.
And we do
Poinsett.
go there quite a lot for medical calls to ceasefire. That's a good point. Thank you for that. We'll definitely reach out to them too. So they're doing a lot of good things right now.
Have y'all considered going to Furman and targeting college students?
For-
Younger, for like scam alerts and to be aware of?
We have not, but that is something I will write down, and we will do that too. We can get with someone, maybe the dean of students there, and talk to them, see if they're interested, and maybe we can have some sort of work with Furman and have some sort of event there with their. Yes, I'll write that down too. Absolutely.
Jerry, that's a good idea as well. And if it's with Furman, they have cultural life events that students have to attend. So if it's within that construct, it might be good too.
Okay, good, good. And we do have, actually, to go along with that, Teresa Howard, our victims advocate and class 3 officer, she, I have her kind of putting products out like pamphlets and magazines and things like that that we get all the time out in our little lobby area, our after hours lobby. So I think I recently mentioned to her about little books that are on identity theft. and they cost us, I think, like 99 cents each. So we can get some of those and put them out there for people, and when someone's waiting in our lobby or up here for whatever reason, they can take that and maybe it educates them a little bit. So just a little bit here and there to reach the community. So thank you for the ideas. I appreciate that.
Does anyone on the committee have questions about the police report for Chief Ford?
I'm just curious, I know that we just sent out a police survey.
Mhm.
How is that going and how long is that going to be out there? Like, have you had good responses?
We have. We've had a lot of good responses. A couple of responses, one from a business asking for Officer Blake to come see them. They'd like to be more involved. Another one was regarding some traffic issues. And of course, what we've done is take our traffic counter to go put it in that area. Speaking of the traffic counter, I believe there's some data that I was going to get for you for Watson Road. Yes, we have identified a problem there on Watson Road. So we will be addressing that problem with probably enforcement in the very near future over there.
Because I've had a lot of people, and I'm sure you know this, so we're talking about walking and biking. There's not really a crosswalk there to come from the subdivision over to the park area. So because of that hill, right, it's a lot of maybe not paying attention to speed, and then you're all of a sudden walking really fast and you're pushing a stroller, or you have a dog behind you. So I appreciate you checking all that out.
We'll be working on that. And actually, it might be something I can get with Mr. Tate about. I know that DOT sometimes will put flashing yellow lights in blind spots just to get attention that, hey, you're coming up on a hill or a curve. I'll get with him and see if maybe DOT can help us out with something there just for cautionary.
Right, that'd be great.
So I'll get with him on that.
Thank you.
Does anyone on council have questions about the report for Chief?
Talk to me a little bit about, about 25. It seems like we getting hammered with accidents. Tigerville, Hawkins, State Park, Little Texas. I mean, we've had more than our share, I think, in the last few months, haven't we?
We are. We've had quite a few, and
Is there any low-hanging fruit we can get there?
the difficult part is the where we're sitting at and where we can sit at, because it's such a crowded and big intersection at, say, State Park and 25, that when we're parked where we can park, the car is long gone before we can even get to it. Even with our emergency lights, we have to be cautious and careful. So what we have to do is team up sometimes and use two officers, one on each side, and communicate that way. We're getting both officers there at the same time without having a call come in sometimes restricts us a little bit.
With the accident we had this week, that was at Tigerville?
Yeah, yes, is that right? Tigerville? I think it was Tigerville. Yeah, yes.
And
think it was State
that's basically, there's got to be somebody running.
It is. I watched a big truck go through a light the other day, almost in front of me. I was 2 cars back. I was in my truck, my patrol vehicle, but I was 2 cars back, and it went through, and I said, there's no way that truck could have stopped, though, with that light by getting up the speed it's going. So, you know, I've mentioned before, I was curious about the timing on the lights. So I'm going to check into that again and just make sure. That's one thing we can do, to just make sure the timing is okay and it gives a little bit more time. An extra second can be the difference. So
Really bad at Little Texas intersection.
that's where the one I saw was, right there. So
And, you know, it hadn't been that awful long ago in my lifetime where none of those roads had a red light to begin with. I mean, even at State Park Road,
yes, sir.
you know,
Yes,
just
sir.
jump out there and take a chance, go across.
It's a lot better now than it used to
Oh,
be.
absolutely. But I mean, with more people comes more opportunities for accidents, and we seem like we've had a lot at all those, you know, the main crossovers there.
Yes, sir, and we I think we're gonna talk about this a little later. The grants are later, is that right? We'll talk, but we are utilizing that to try to enforce in the spots that we need to.
Okay.
So the officers are earning that extra money, but the state's paying us to do
Yeah,
it. so.
yeah, like the one that's kind of heading up our neighborhood over there.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. So we'll definitely focus on the areas that are trouble spots, where our wrecks are happening. That's where we wanna focus.
You know, it's, like I say, I mean, not much, I mean, on what you can do about it. I mean, when they backed up on Friday afternoon, the southbound traffic coming on 25 backed up all the way to Poplar Street, you know, to the red light. I mean, what you gonna do about that? I mean, people want to go, you know?
Yeah, and there's busy times of day, and there are times in the day when it's not nearly that busy that a
Oh,
lot
I
of people don't
understand that
see.
too,
Yeah, so you know, we see the busier times. Obviously, I've been there in the busy times and be sitting there myself, but to go right around at 2:00 in the afternoon or 10 o'clock in the morning, it's really not as bad as people think. But the busy times of day, we'll try to focus on those hot spots,
Is
we
it
call 'em.
possible to have a camera there?
Which-
Would that be,
Which place?
which is State Park the worst intersection?
State Park, I would say State Park is the worst, yes. And then I would say the next is Little Texas and Tigerville third is what I would say. DOT, they have cameras there, but they do not record.
Really?
They do not record, and the reason they do not record is because they don't want to be responsible for Freedom of Information Act request and have to keep that data. So they can only monitor that in real time if there's a problem there and get some information out. So
Really?
we've actually had people request camera footage and DOT does not record that.
Chief, what are you seeing about the cell phone new law? Is that something that, like,
That's-
our team has noticed a good bit, or are we just kind of like warning people about using the cell phone while driving, or?
Yes, right now, we can only issue warning tickets until this month, Lieutenant? This month? Next month, next
Okay.
month.
So
So
warnings,
yes, we're issuing some warnings and talking with people and educating, and we'll make sure and do a blast on social media again, too.
I hope that helps, but I guess
Well,
to be determined, yeah.
I'm not seeing any change. I'm seeing a lot of people still using them, a lot of people.
And that don't apply to Bluetooth, does it?
No, sir. It's handheld devices.
Handheld.
Can't touch it.
Only
yeah.
handheld.
See, the law before used to be if you were texting, you were violating the law, but you could surf the internet on your phone and it was not violating the
Or
law,
watch
which
a
made no
movie.
sense. Now it's any handheld device. Yes, sir.
With State Park and 25, is there any way to do a light when you're going south, you know, like warning light that the light's going to change to red for like the big trucks that are coming through to help
You
them
know,
to
like,
slow down?
that's something we can ask, Tate's shaking his head. We can definitely check into that. I see those around other parts of the state. Just a
they're on
warning that it's,
Poinsett, there's, 25 by Foothills
so
and.
we can ask,
You
definitely.
saying,
ask
Lisa,
people.
like it's about to change? like
Yeah.
the-
Yes.
So
When
that
you're
they're
coming
gonna
up
up
idea.
the-
That is a great idea.
That's a good idea.
We'll work on that. I'll get with Tate and we'll work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Road Ford Road.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay.
Huh.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you so much.
Real good idea.
Fire?
Evening.
Hello. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Just a couple things. The call volume is still slowly climbing. A lot of wrecks starting to happen this time of year. Our new Cascade system for our air breathing cylinders came in today, so I want to thank you all for the funding for that. So hopefully we get that up and running next couple of days. Our community risk reduction program is real busy right now. We've been having a lot of touch-a-truck events. School groups coming to the station for tours and stuff like that outside of the district, which is amazing. I think the police department has had 2 or 3 as well. So, again, thank you for the funding for our Cascade.
Thank
Had
you.
a busy month training as well. We had, I think it was 575 hours training this month.
I just wonder if y'all do anything besides training.
So we got to stay, got to
A
stay.
lot of hours. All right, does anyone on the committee have questions about the fire report? Anyone on council? All right, thank you. All right, Shannon, anything specific you want to mention about the building or municipal court report?
Thank you, Chair Byers. We see a pretty steady number kind of occurring in the teens here, and mostly in residential. Still not hitting the highs that we were experiencing the first part of the year, or even close to those averages, but it's moving along. I think other areas are experiencing a similar effect in talking to some city administrators, but no one's alarmed at the moment about that.
Is it like holding off on building because of tariffs on materials or?
I haven't heard anything along those lines. I think it's more of an absorption. I think there was an early, approval of lots of units coming on, and so then they start to build them out and then sell them. Although I am hearing just in some market analysis that they're expecting a small slowdown to the beginning of the year, and then possibly a pickup afterwards. And I would imagine if anything's impacting it, it's probably the rates and in hopeful anticipation of rate cuts.
Does anyone on committee have questions about the building or municipal court reports? Anyone on council? Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All right, Planning and Development Committee, Vice Chair Byers, it's you again.
Call to order the Planning and Development Committee meeting for November 10th. Present are myself, Grant Bumgarner, Shanice Chris, and Sherry Merritt. Do we have a motion to approve the Planning Committee minutes from October 6th?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Director Martin?
So the updates are in bold. So if you go down under projects under construction, the refuge moved to final plat recorded. So we've received 3 building permits for the refuge. That's right there on Main Street. So we'll see building starting there soon. Under the station, the event, the LDD approved. When I'll get a set that says final stamped approval. That's when we all put our stamps on. So when it hits that stage, that's when I'll say LDD approved. So we received it for the event, and I just received the one above it for the station for the hotel. Just came through on my phone a minute ago, so we'll be stamping that for approval tomorrow or Wednesday. Down below, Pinestone Commercial, previously it was on SCDOT encroachment permit. It's work pending now. We finally worked out the encroachment with them on South End Circle, and that'll move forward. We received a PARD grant. As you know, we've taken Gateway Park as of today, technically. Yes.
Look at us.
And so,
Still in my
29th
administrator's report, Jay.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get out of the way, so, you know.
We'll clap again. We'll do it all
Yes,
again.
we'll do a big clap then.
So it's just under $30,000 to fix the restroom, and then 23 and a half-ish is from PARD. Then this was awesome. We received the Healthy Greenville grant in the amount of $249,723. There is a big check back there, a little big check.
We should probably get a picture before.
We should get a
Yeah.
picture of that.
I'll go grab that after mine, and we can
Thank
get
you.
the big
Yeah.
check in here. It was a great event, and so we have gone ahead and put out the RFP for the fitness court portion of that, and the dollars that were for that. And so I've already started receiving some questions. We should get that back December 12th. And then we're going to try to jump on this and go ahead because
Where will it be
we've
again?
got the money. It's right beside the Center Street parking. If you're looking at it from Center Street, it'll be on the library side towards the front. And it'll kind of work with the curve in the road and have a sidewalk along the curve there in the parking lot, and it'll sit there. We also will have a bottle filling station, lighting, couple benches, and trash receptacles.
What kind of equipment?
Well, that's what but what it is a bunch of cardio.
Cardio.
Yes.
Okay.
So
And resistance.
and resistance.
And resistance,
Yes.
okay. 'Cause
So
I
you
normally
can
see
go
resistance as
and do
those-
your full workout there. For me, the way I looked at it is I pay for a gym membership and then never go. This way, it's there and I can just go whenever I want to, and I don't have to worry about paying for it. So the biggest thing is it's going to be available to everybody in the community. It's going to be ADA accessible, and so that's where the Healthy Greenville grant came from. It's a great opportunity, and we look forward to it. Hoping to get it done before summer.
Oh, wow.
Is our goal. So this is one that is dollars in hand, and
Nice.
we're ready to go. So it's not one where we put all the dollars out and then have to get the money back. So this is one we can jump on and start moving forward.
Great timing with all that we're doing and the crosswalk. It's
It-
amazing timing.
It helps with all that. It's also, and quite honestly, one of the things with us taking the parks on, to see something positive happening in those locations as we take them on, so there's a change and not just a changeover where it's like, now we start getting all the calls, are y'all gonna do anything with the restroom down here? And that sort of thing, and we can't pass them along to Greenville County anymore.
Twofold question about the sport court.
Yes.
Will there be lighting, and are there certain hours that it's supposed to be used?
We will come up with hours that it should be used. It'll probably concur with what our hours for Gateway Park or whatever, but we are going to have lighting in the area that we put on there. And you're going to talk about the lighting in your report, or?
have a lighting in my report, but we do have a parks ordinance that will be coming to you hopefully in December that will talk about hours, and it will pretty much coincide with sunset, sunrise.
But we'll be looking for options for lighting of the park. We basically have 2 poles that would be in that location, and so we will have lighting there.
Thank you.
Let's see, we've been accepted to apply for a recreational trails program grant, amount of $125,000. This trail will be along Beaver Dam Creek from Pinestone to State Park Road. And this is going to be the first one that we have to try to take advantage of the riparian buffer. Sherry, you had some questions about what the riparian buffer was.
I had to Google, I'm just saying out loud, I had to Google it.
Okay. Riparian buffer is just along creeks and streams. Greenville County, it's been well over a year now, has implemented a 100-foot buffer along all streams and creeks in Greenville County. It can go down to 50 if it's less than 50 acres that serve the watershed. And they have worked with us, so in the center of town, it's gone down to 35, which is the old number they used because it's an urban or semi-urban area and performs differently or has already been developed or had something that occurred within it. What we're trying to do is I've mapped out all the riparian buffers that we have in town. What you're allowed to do in a riparian buffer is infrastructure like sewer, water, anything like that, but you can also put trails. And so this is a great opportunity for us to locate greenway trails along all the creeks and streams and to connect them back to the Swamp Rabbit Trail and that sort of thing. And we get to separate vehicles and cyclists from, pedestrians and cyclists from vehicles. So at least solve one of the conflicts, but it gives us a great opportunity to do that instead of putting all our trails, sidewalks along roads. And so we're going to start looking for those opportunities where we can get grants for those opportunities and how we can do those. One of the great examples is the Gold Trail of the Swamp Rabbit that'll be coming online. It'll be that kind of thing and working together with UGATA for future opportunities. And then I think the last thing I had down there is Trees Up State planted 43 trees on October 18th. So they've been planted and they're great. Some of them have already lost their leaves. It's all right. They were a little stressed out and they
I
were
was watching the
deciduous.
ones by Brown and
Yeah.
BNC, and I was like, oh, they look like Charlie Brown trees.
Yes.
But that's
So also they are bald cypress and that's kind of their color. I'd love to say they have this wonderful color, but it's a reddish and brown. That's what they do. And so those were chosen purposefully for there because they litter a little bit less than your typical deciduous tree. We'll be looking forward to some plantings coming online in spring, working together with those guys as well.
Great, thank you. Does anyone on the committee have questions for Che? Anyone on council?
On the tree thing, am I remembering correctly also that they are actually in charge of the upkeep of those trees also, the watering and?
2 years, yes. So we have a guarantee on the trees. They're watered and mulched. In fact, they were out here watering the trees that were just planted the other day. So, and we got some pictures of them doing it. So it's a great deal. Basically, it's $375 a tree, and that covers 2 years of them taking care of it. So.
I do have a question. The time frame for the refurbishment of the bathrooms at Gateway, is that at the same time as the fitness court?
That'll be before. Basically, we'll start getting together bids, just like we are for the road parking. And we'll probably have to get 3 bids together for those, and then we'll proceed with that as quick as we can because we want to do something there. They're pretty.
People are very excited to have that refurbished.
The grant comes from the state legislator, and it's approved through the Legislative Delegation Committee and then goes back to the state. So it's being presented to the state November 15th. I'm not sure how quickly we get the funds in hand. Actually, it's a reimbursement grant. So as soon as it's approved, we could begin the work and then get reimbursed. So
And this may be part of the Master Parks plan, but will we have additional lighting that goes to the bathrooms for when it gets darker?
That'll probably be part of Parks Master Plan. We did get RFQs back for that. We got 13 RFQs for the Park Master Plan. We have reviewed them, and we will report on the selection soon.
Right.
Anyone else have questions for Jay? All right, do you have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. Ways and Means Committee, Grant Baumgartner.
All right, I call the Ways and Means Committee to order. Myself, Kelly Byers, Lisa Lane, and Wayne McCall are all present. I would entertain a motion to approve the October 6th Ways and Means Committee minutes.
Motion.
Second on that?
Second.
Thank you, sir. Are any changes or deletes or additions that need to be made to those minutes? All right, all those in favor? Got it. Okay, coming up onto now, we're going to do 3 approvals for one for the body worn camera grant funds, a second for the car video camera grant funds, and a third one for approval of the highway safety program funds. These were introduced to us briefly last month. Chief, who has made his way up, briefly told us about all of these. We've got the final figures together at this point, so I'm going to start with a motion to send to full council approval of funding the body-worn camera grant from the South Carolina Department of Public Safety. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you for that. The police department on this particular one has received is due to receive $30,103.35 to upgrade the existing body cameras to a newer model. A little bit of information along this line, what they're actually doing, and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong on this, that we're actually getting 25 new cameras, and they are not only new, but they are better cameras than what is currently being worn, correct?
That's correct. And
And-
there's some software that goes along with that too, yes.
And not only are we getting 25 new, these are replacing all of the current cameras that we have that all the officers are wearing. However, not only are we replacing those, we're not going to trash the cameras that are currently using, correct?
Correct. Most of them will be traded back in, and then we will be allowed to keep some for our reserve officers.
So that is this. Tell me a little bit more, sir, if you would please, about what's going on with this body-worn camera program.
Thank you. So I just want to speak historically just for a minute. Chief Crow, many years ago, was able to get a grant, the first grant for the city for body-worn cameras, and he got it through Axon. Well, those cameras have been the best camera on the market and are still the best camera on the market. So we've continued doing business with them. New models come out every year or two, and we usually enter a contract with them. They do 5-year contracts. Well, they had this new contract they wanted us to enter, and we did, and we were allowed, we contacted the State Department of Public Safety, and they awarded us $30,000 and some change in order to get all these brand new cameras. Now, some of the features that we're getting now with the new cameras that we haven't had before are called auto tagging. Each time we go to a call, we have to, and we record, the officers have to go back and say what that recording was for. Well, with this auto tagging feature, it's kind of AI technology will recognize what type it is and auto tag it for us and save the officer time not having to go back and do that. It also has some let's see, what was that? Auto transcribing. So it will auto transcribe it into words for our reports if we need it, and we just have to review it and put it in our report. We will also have sidearm clips that go with your weapon. So in an emergency situation, the officer doesn't have to remember to turn the body camera on. You pull it, it automatically comes on, and it records back 30 seconds previous because of the previous recording. So these are nice features to have, good safety features, and it saves us time.
Does anybody on the committee have any questions that they would like to ask?
Yeah, is this a budget alleviating grant in the sense that I can't remember if this was already in our spending plan for this.
We
year.
have had money that we've been spending on body worn cameras, yes.
Anybody not on committee like to ask any questions right now? And as a reminder, this is actually grant funds. We are going through the procedure of running this through committee for all three of these, and it's simply a procedural part is all that we're actually doing so that we can receive the money on that.
Remind what grant means. Grant means free.
Free, no repayment back on this whatsoever, so.
Yes, and there are no matching funds for us for this.
Chief, thank you for the work that you did to put all three of these together. By the way, there's well over $90,000 worth of money that's here that Chief has put together for us, so.
Wonderful team I have working for me as team members.
Anybody have anything they'd like to say? All right, those in favor of sending this on to full council for vote? Oh, we've got everybody, thank you. All right, letter C, letter D, approval of the in-car video camera grant funds. I make a motion to send to full council approval of funding of the in-car video camera grant funding from the South Carolina Department of Public Safety. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right,
We'll
thank
give
you
to
all. The police department has received for this particular grant $30,693.11 to purchase 4 new in-car cameras for the department's newest vehicles. We're not replacing any cameras. We are simply outfitting the new vehicles that we recently just purchased with these cameras, and it is saving us $30,000 to do that. That does not have to come out of our general budget for doing this. So, Chief, what would you like to add on the vehicle cameras?
So, in the past, we've also used our budget to buy cameras for cars. And when we get new cars, we usually get a new camera because a car may last 8 to 10 years. So by then the camera's outdated. So instead, this time, instead of budgeting for that, we saved that money and I asked for this grant and was awarded for these 4 cameras for 4 of the Tahoes.
Thank you, sir. Anything special? I mean, these are just the regular cameras that we've been, like what we have been using also. There's not anything special or new with these particular cameras, are there?
The only thing new is it's a cloud-based system like our body-worn cameras. So we're not having to save data on a thumb drive and then save it on a local server that we've done for years and years. Axon, the more you buy from Axon, the bigger bundle and discount they give you. So we added 4 of those cameras and went away from our old style cameras, which were us managing the data, and now it's being saved in the cloud for us.
So this is all cloud-based memory then that's being utilized?
It is correct.
Which is also, that's just secondary, but I know that's a cost that we on the budgeting side of things also look at because that's increasing each year simply because we've got more that we're saving and more that we're putting in there. So,
yes.
Thank you, sir. Anybody have any other questions they would like to ask Chief?
I just had a quick question about the cameras. Is this camera recording just inside the cab of the vehicle, or is it 360 around the vehicle?
So it's actually neither. It's recording the about 180 degrees front.
Front, okay.
And then we also have a camera recording the back seat if we're transporting a prisoner, so it monitors their safety and ours. So those 2 cameras. So it doesn't get 360, but inside and outside the car.
Okay.
And they sync with the body cameras because it's the same company. So they kind of sync together and marry up together so you can get a lot more angles and views.
Great, thank you.
Does this cover the full expense of outfitting all the new cars with cameras?
So this is just for 4 cameras.
That's what I thought.
Now, my intentions are to ask next year to try to increase it and replace all of our older cameras with this. No, I'm sorry. That was my intention, it's not my intention. Only if I'm allowed to.
Our meeting just got shorter, Chief.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? All right, those in favor of sending this the car video cameras on to full council? Hands please. Pass, that's unanimous. All right, number E is the approval of the Highway Safety Program grant funds. I make a motion to send to full council approval of funding the Highway Safety Program grant funding from the South Carolina Department of Public Safety. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. This grant covers the officer overtime for traffic enforcement activities such as issuing citations and warnings to enhance community safety. The state reimburses 100% of these expenditures and has awarded the police department $38,868 to spend for these particular expenses. This is actually for man hours, it's for overtime man hours. Let me say that also. It's not just for the regular time they do, but if an officer, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Chief, if an officer wants to work additional, then they can work additional, and we can utilize these funds to reimburse ourselves basically up to $38,868 for overtime hours used towards these traffic enforcement throughout the city.
That is correct, and those funds will take care of 100% of the benefits and the taxes and all that. That takes care of every penny, so the city is not out one penny for any of that.
So again, this is another reimbursement grant that you will notice some of you have probably seen in our police department overtime line item has been on occasion high. That's because we're paying out some of the overtime. This is the second year we received this exact grant also, correct?
Third year, actually.
Third year,
Yes.
okay. So what's happening is our overtime is being budgeted back into that line item. I mean, it's being taken out and expended from that line item, but then we are petitioning the state for reimbursement, which then comes back into that same line item and brings it all back down. Am I correct on this also? City
Goes back
Administrator?
into the general fund,
Yes.
so we come out positive in that way, but we receive it in the revenue line that's labeled police salary grants.
So it is,
It does wash, but it is confusing when you look and it looks like we're over our budget for overtime hours. We can then reconcile to that.
I did have a question, and that was concerning what Wayne was talking about earlier. Are these funds that actually can be used for this tag teaming, as you were talking about, out on 25 to combat some of this problem that Wayne was talking about?
Absolutely, and we have a couple of different pairs of officers that like to work together and do that on their days off. So if they both have a day off and they both want to work, we have had that happen in the past. Yes.
Awesome. Anybody on the committee have any questions I'd like to ask Chief?
I did one quick question. What's the status on overtime now? Is it taxed or not taxed?
That's a great question, Councilmember McCall. I had ChatGPT outline it for me, and then I sent it to our HR consultant to say, "Is this at all right?" And she said, "Nope, there's actually no guidance on that yet." So
Don't trust ChatGPT, just.
yeah, well, in trying to understand how it came out, it actually told me that they weren't paying any taxes to the state income tax, which of course is not at all federally related. So basically, at this time, there is no guidance on how that tax relief is reported,
So,
is what
but
our
there
HR consultant
still-
tells us.
There's still state tax for the overtime.
Well, it should be because that's a federal regulation that came out, but we are waiting to receive guidance on that. And Carson and I do push on our HR rep about at least once a month to say, we're coming up at the close of the year. People are going to need guidance. What can we offer them? And it's not out yet.
I think in theory, it was up to 25,000, not taxable. I don't know what the start date was, but then typically the state has to come in and say whether they agree with the federal or not. So maybe the state comes and says, no, you still have to have it taxed. Who knows?
Federal Trump, no pun intended, but federal Trump state.
I don't think they get our taxes though.
Yeah.
Like, I think we still have to vote on the tax piece to it. But yeah, Shannon's right. I looked it up too and it was like, not very clear. But I don't think it's just everybody's overtime, no taxes. It's not that blanket that was sold.
So it's still a crapshoot, in other words.
Yeah, I think so. To be determined.
Be nice.
Anybody not on committee have questions they would like to ask the chief?
I have a question. So is this the same, do we still have to do checkpoints once a month and all that from this grant? Is that the same grant?
It
that we have
depends
to do?
on what's in
Okay.
the grant.
Okay.
I think we had that put in a previous time, and
Yeah.
it was something that we could not live up to doing once a month with our staffing.
Mhm.
And they actually recommended that we back off of that and do
Okay.
less than that. Now, this past Friday night, we did a saturation here in the city. I don't know if anybody noticed that. We had saturation of officers in the city, and they did a little checkpoint too Friday night. So we randomly do those, but usually only a couple times a year.
None of us got in trouble on that, chief. That's the most important. We don't know about it.
Well, it was kind of a last minute thing. No, it went well from what I hear. I wasn't able to be part of it, but I had Sergeant Lawless and Lieutenant Donnelly were handling that Friday night. So it went well, no issues, no major issues or anything. It was a driver's license check is what it was.
Oh, is all it was?
We did a license check just to see, and people come through and show their license, and we thank them for having their license and wave them on. So it weren't too many issues.
Not a DUI checkpoint?
No, sir. No, sir. Not that time.
Well, thank you and your team for getting all this grant fund to help alleviate the budget and the taxes and
So
all that.
you're welcome.
so.
We'll continue to do that, continue to work on things.
And that bolsters your staff also. I mean, in effect, that it gives them more to do. So.
Yes,
they
and
will
I
do-
believe if we get busy, we can still use that overtime grant to focus on the traffic. So if we're busy, we don't have really any excuses. We can still get out there and work on safety on the streets. So.
Right, so that's good. All right, anything else from anybody? All right, those in favor of sending this on to council? Oh, we've got it. All right, thank you all. Nothing else on Ways and Means, so I hear a motion to adjourn Ways and Means Committee.
Motion.
Second.
All right, thank you all.
All right, thank you. Old business, we have none. New business, we have none. Miscellaneous matters, our administrative update. Shannon Herman, what you got?
Thank you, Mayor Don Dunn. Please be prepared to clap. We have officially closed on the property transfer for the parks. So, Try to steal my thunder. No, just kidding. It was a drawn-out process, and if you'll remember, we did have to move the property line on the summary court, and so it was kind of complicated in some of those regards, but we're bringing in close to 50 additional acres into the city's portfolio, which was one of the goals in our budgetary planning retreat. So excited to meet that standard. Also very excited and very grateful to Carson for putting a significant amount of work in bringing, and to Mayor Amadan for bringing it to our attention, to bringing a new resource to our table. It's called Matchboard. This is for boards and commissions appointments. It will be up and running here in just the next couple days, or is up and running. And this allows candidates to see what's available for boards and commissions, all the application requirements, submit their application. It's very transparent where anyone is in the cycle, including council and reviewing and things of that nature. So just brings a lot of transparency and organization to the process. It is time for us to think about boards and commissions, and we have several openings upcoming. So we will begin advertising those immediately and then bring those to you in December. So that's upcoming. Also, wanted to remind everyone that we are closed tomorrow for observance of Veterans Day.
Speaking of Veterans Day, we have the House Mortuary Ceremony. I think it's at 2 p.m. Make sure you can come to that if you can. Does anyone on council have anything for the good of council?
I think I'll take tomorrow.
Just for public view or to hear, explain like which parks got transferred to us.
Gateway Park and the second half of Trailblazer Park that belonged to the county.
Okay, thank you.
So the old track and the old football field, and now the Trailblazer Playground.
And the tree lines in the back.
Anyone else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Jay, you gonna get us a check?